Inspired by Proverbs 27:17, this is Sharpening Kingdom Leaders with ACSI President and CEO Dr. Larry Taylor. Hear inspiring stories from Christian school leaders from around the world and be challenged to continue running the race to advance Christ-centered education. Hi everybody, I'm Josh Warden with ACSI. Welcome to episode 3 of Sharpening Kingdom Leaders, which is the first episode in a series highlighting some of our global voices. One of ACSI's unique features is our global footprint, and this series will focus on ACSI schools in the epicenter of top global areas of tension, war, rumblings of war. You can listen to these school leaders as they remain committed to their call to advance Christ-centered education. First up is Kylie Barker. She founded a school in northern Iraq, and so Dr. Larry Taylor sat down with her to discuss Hive Christian Academy's story and why she was motivated to travel across an ocean to provide access to and advance Christ-centered education.
Kylie, I really enjoyed listening to you this morning as you gave testimony here in Croatia at the International School Leaders Conference. The fact that you're in Iraq is really piqued my interest. Tell us a little bit how it started. I was really fascinated with just how the Lord laid it on your heart, how it started, and give us that 1 year update.
Okay. Yeah, it was just over a year ago that we first started meeting to talk about the possibility of opening a school. Our church community there has several kids in its care, thankfully. And we've been watching as other families in the region have started to leave because they didn't have a good educational opportunity for their kids. So as we started praying and thinking about that, God really aligned the hearts of several of us to have been thinking about it independently, and then confirmed the forward motion as we all started talking about it together. So God really brought a team of people with unique skills to be the right kind of team we needed to be able to get this rolling in less than a year. So we're about to finish our first full year of school.
How many students do you have?
We have 14 now. We started with 18. A few have emigrated during the year. So we're going to finish strong with 14.
The 14 in grades?
We have from pre-K, our youngest are 3, up to 3rd grade.
3rd grade. And, if you had to look 3 years, I know you're 1 year at a time, but 3 years, 5 years out, what's the plan for the growth?
Yeah, we would love to be a full K-12 school. So our goal is in the next 3 to 5 years to get up to those high school levels. We're offering older classes next year. We'll see if the interest is there, if we get the students.
Okay.
So for now, we know we'll have up to 4th grade in the fall, and then hopefully keep going beyond that.
Okay. So you probably get this a lot. So you're in Iraq, and I know many parts of the world, have a picture of Iraq and the maybe possible danger, especially when you talk about a Christ-centered school. So talk to us about, how is your Christian school viewed where you are, and are you in a dangerous area?
It's a complicated question.
It really is.
So personally, our family loves living in northern Iraq. We feel safe as a family. Our kids walk to the bakery and the corner store by themselves, so we enjoy being there. We are not facing a lot of pressures that we're watching family back in the States facing right now. So there's definite positives. As Westerners, we don't feel that we're targeted for having a different faith background. That's not the same for all of our friends. There are some for whom trusting Christ is a risk, and so we acknowledge that. Our school currently is only accepting international families until we're able to get more permissions. We don't feel like the spotlight is on us for that reason right now. We've run into a few just neighborhood oppositions that we've faced as we continue doing the work that we're doing. Having a school meeting at a building has drawn more attention, and there's a lot of more noise and activity than there had been previously. So there have been people who've wondered what's going on. Some of them are positively curious, wanting to send their children as well, and others, when they realize there's not something for their children right now, have been trying to see if there's any trouble they can stir up for us. So we feel open and safe. We enjoy being there, but we know that that's not the case for everybody. And so we're excited to be there, excited to use this opportunity that God has given us.
Amen. Well, I know there's certain parts of Iraq as well as other parts of the world where it's probably not as safe, mainly because of the Christian focus. But it's good to hear that you feel safe. It still blesses me that the courage and just the call that God has had on your life to even start this, which is really my next question. Tell us how you ended up starting the school.
I think if I'm completely honest, this is a dream that goes back to my elementary days of wanting to teach overseas and always playing school as a child and always just enjoying and loving everything related to education. So I pursued my degree in cross-cultural education. I taught in Turkey for several years after we were married. And then I've been pursuing various educational projects since then. My husband and I also had done some educational projects for children out of school because of the crisis in 2014 in Iraq. So that was more of a humanitarian relief educational project. But this time when we moved back to Iraq, more for my husband's work, we took along 4 little kids with us, and I desired for them to have a Christian education. So as I was doing that, we realized that there was a desire for that from several families in the area. So God had taken a lot of the desires and passions that he'd given me since I was very young and kind of pulled them all together in this opportunity to take those skills and gifts that he's given me and work together with a team of other like-minded believers and hopefully bless many more families through
that. Wow. What a blessing. All the way back to what grade did you say? 5th?
1st or 2nd.
Oh, wow. That's pretty special. When you think about the future, I mean, we talked a little bit about the future. What do you think your greatest needs will be? Granted, let's say that your school continues to grow and it goes all the way up to your vision and dream, to high school. What do you think what will your greatest needs be?
There's a few on the different facets of running a school. There are always the practical needs of finances and then actual students to join the student body. Right now we're looking for teachers. But I think a big need is the acceptance of our model, both with local families and then also with the local government, that we would get the approvals that we need. But we're trying something that's very different from the educational system we see around us there. And I think convincing people that caring for the whole child, their mind and their heart, whether that's explicitly in a faith-based context or even just in a public education setting, I think convincing others that matters and it's good for the society as a whole. I think that's going to be a need we have as we start becoming more known in the community and hopefully having more conversations with other educators in the community, that they would buy into the same vision of education that we have.
All over the world, and of course I live in the United States, non-traditional delivery of education is growing. And walk us through your non-traditional, which I think my prediction is that it's going to become traditional. Everything that we call non-traditional today, I think on the horizon will be traditional. But take us through exactly your model of how you deliver Christ-centered education.
All right. We're calling it the Hive model, which works well since we're Hive Christian Academy. We're combining hybrid and traditional 5-day learning together. So our students are required to attend 3 days a week, and we have our normal curriculum, our classes. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have the option of staying home and doing a home assignment with their parents. However, we know that at the same time, a lot of our parents are either working full-time or in full-time language learning. It doesn't work well for their schedules to actually utilize the hybrid model. So we've made it optional for them to also come to school on those days. If the students come, they get small group one-on-one mentoring with their teacher to do those assignments. And then in the afternoons, we've been able to do experiential learning or hands-on learning. We've done lots of different projects, exploring things at a different pace than the classroom allows. We've also been able to open those afternoon classes to homeschool families in the area, and we've even had one local family so far join for a few of those classes. So it's been an exciting way to take what we really care about and hopefully spread it beyond our little hive family. But it's also just been fun. One of our overarching goals is that kids will delight in learning. And I think through this, we're seeing that really happen. Kids are enjoying being at school. They're asking questions. They're learning new things. So
I love that. I think I have 5 sons that have, gone through Christian education. And what you just said, the delight in learning and the power of a teacher, the power of an administrator to create, that culture that is truly a delight to learn. That blesses me so much to hear you say that. So how are you, do the students pay tuition?
Yes, we are a tuition-based school. We hope to continue building out a scholarship fund so that that's not a barrier to education. Yeah. We want any family that desires Christian education to have access to it. But for the longevity of the school, we are tuition-based.
Yeah. You said that most of your students right now are the international, and so what's your vision to go beyond that, to have some of the indigenous, local, what's your vision?
So we right now are only accepting international families that have a passport that is not an Iraqi passport. That meant this year we had a few Iranian, Syrian, American, and European families who joined us. We would love to see local Iraqi Christian families be able to join us as well. Right now we are keeping our student body from Christian families that will sign our statement of faith and have a pastoral recommendation letter. But we would love to see the families who are there feel like there's a good reason to stay there and continue to be a light in their own community.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, obviously, I'm interested in ACSI, and is there anything that ACSI can do for you, any of your staff, parents, anything? Is there anything that ACSI that we could do better? Any need that you have that we could provide?
ACSI has been a huge help. We joined last summer before we'd even started, and Tim has been a huge help in answering questions along the way. The board of the community of teachers on there that I've been able to pick their brains has been really helpful. We're looking forward, I think, to starting the accreditation process in the next coming years. So, we are excited to have the direction and support of ACSI as we continue to build Hive into a sustainable school and one that is meeting the expectations of a quality educational facility so that we can provide that documentation for our students and hopefully give them a good chance when they leave to go to a good college. So, ACSI has been a huge help to us already, and we're excited to continue on.
Good. Actually, Tim Schumann, our division of international, as a passion. He lived it out in his own professional life, and now he is replicating that passion all over the world. So that blesses me to hear that. One last question. If I interviewed how many of your children attend the school?
All 4.
All 4. So if I interviewed one of them, what do you think they would say is their favorite thing about the Hive School?
They would all have different answers. I'm one of their teachers, so hopefully that would be his answer.
That's right.
I think that this is something that I've tried to be really open. You can imagine there's been a lot of questions and stressors over the last year that they've observed. I've tried to be really open with them and let them come along this process. I want them to look back and see it as a blessing that they walked along this road with us. So I think they would be excited to say that they feel like an instrumental part of helping to make this happen. So I would hope that would be one of their answers. They also just really enjoy the teachers and friends and the classes that we have together. So,
the school that I used to lead in Dallas, Texas, our Portrait of a Graduate started with we want our aspiration for our students was that they had 5 steps. I'm only going to tell you one. That they would witness a daily from the faculty and staff and coaches, followers of Christ that had an eternal perspective. And so when I hear about your 4 children, and I know this is true for all the children that go to Hive, what a blessing it is to see their mom, and I know it's mom and dad, but what a blessing it is to see their mom not just talking about an eternal perspective, but living it out. And I just want to thank you for blessing me, I think it's going to end up blessing hundreds and thousands of people. Just your faith, your work, and just the eternal perspective, regardless of where we are in this world. Kingdom education is desired, and it takes people like you to lean into the Lord and lean into just having the faith and the courage to do it. You're in a very unique country, very unique situation, but what a beautiful, bright spot that you can be the light of Jesus in that region of the world. So we're grateful for you, and we'll be praying for you.
Thank you.
God bless.
We hope you enjoy that conversation for episode 3 of Sharpening Kingdom Leaders, as well as the rest of the series highlighting some global voices. Today was Iraq. Upcoming episodes will include school leaders in Ukraine and Russia, Indonesia, Taiwan, and more. Many of these places affected by war, or at least rumors of war, unrest, some sort of difficulty that's produced struggle, but also perseverance and some amazing stories. One of the takeaways from this episode was when Kylie was talking about her kids' favorite part of their school. She talked about the stressors, the difficulties her own students and kids realized from her school, but also how they saw the vision of what she was trying to put together and how they joined her in that effort, co-laborers with her in helping build a Christ-centered education. They're not just passively listening, but acting as co-laborers in the effort to advance Christ-centered education. And there's a universal trait of leadership here that Dr. Taylor would point out, regardless of the location of your school, is to always point the faculty, the students, the families to the mission of the school. Remind them of the transcendent cause and the purpose so that we all can join in that mission together and know where the school is headed. And there's some crossover here with the Student Leadership and Learning podcast with Emily Pigott. We hope that show and all 4 shows of the ACSI podcast have been helpful to you. You can tune into those wherever you're listening or watching right now. Our thanks again to Kylie Barker for joining us on this show. For all of us at ACSI, I'm Josh Warden. Thanks for tuning in.
Sharpening Kingdom Leaders is a presentation of the Association of Christian Schools International, equipping Christian schools and educators to be stronger together. Learn more at acsi.org.